In November, the week-long comic book festival, Graphic Novels from Europe, took place in New York, put on by the cultural institutions of several European countries, including the Czech Center. At a number of events there, writer Jaroslav Rudiš, illustrator Jaromír 99, and their publisher Joachim Dvořák presented Alois Nebel, their trilogy of graphic novels about the Czech-German railwaymen from the Sudets. And Jaroslav Rudiš wrote about what they found there. And we're going to be reading an unpublished translation from the Czech by Mike Allen. So good evening, everyone. Now about these jackets, I would like to thank H&M and their sale. We got it for 150 crowns each. So anyway, we've gone to New York and we thought if we could live out our American dream. And you're going to hear whether we won or we lost, because in the States you never know. And in the course of the evening, the publisher is going to come up. He is still behind the stage, and he's going to play the second guitar. And we're also going to have keyboards. We're going to have this text and the Bombers, which is a band that was set up by Jaromír. And he asked us to join in, though we don't really know how to play anything. So about the band. Well, the band actually was created in the comics called Bomber. And the character of the comic book is listening to that band while he's driving. And I figured, well, it's a 2D band, so why not turn it into a 3D band? And we seem to have been doing okay so far. And people seem to come and listen to us, and nobody booed us in New York. I think somebody actually bought one CD. I think we've sold one CD, so I guess it was a success when you think of it that way. Well, there was a final... Oh, well, you shouldn't be saying that because I'm going to be reading it. So I'll read, and Jaromír is going to accompany me on and off on his guitar. The guitar was actually made in Sudetenland. Was it? No, I think it was made in Thailand. Fragile wood. So from the borderland of Thailand. So I'll start reading. So let's get serious about things. I know that friends in Leipzig and Berlin are watching this, so hi. They're watching us online. The American Dream. The train hurtles out of the tunnel like a flashing silver bullet. We get on. Apparently there are 2,500 people living in the New York subway at any time. In the tunnels, in the stations, somewhere under them or between them. The subway here is much more stripped down, much louder and darker than any I've ever seen. When the computer breaks down, the driver rap out the names of the lines and stations in a faxed mix. Homeless dudes walk through the cars singing loudly, with no headphones in their ears. Riffing rap, blues, rock, country, everything, going through the crowd and singing. And then silently smiling, they stick out a tin can, rattling a couple of coins inside. They're fighting with the city. Yarin, don't look at him, man. He'll mess you up, right? Jaromír 99 advises me. But I can't not do it. I see the subway car as the stage of a great musical. All of a sudden everybody is singing English, Spanish, Chinese, and we're throwing Czech into the mix. Jaromír 99 and the Bombers, the comic book band from Bohemia, on their way to the New York Festival of European Comics. Everyone's singing. The train is rocking along the bumpy tracks, and on the ceiling there's an ad for a big winter ski resort in Utah. I sing and I think about what the capital of Utah is. At the French Cultural Institute, where the show is starting, it's packed. We say hi to David B. and Nicolas de Crécy from France, and Max from Spain, and Igor from Italy. who we're going to spend the week in New York with. There's chatter, at first polite, then scattered, and in the end quite friendly about what, who, where, how, and with whom. A petite and charming French girl in tall, high-heeled boots introduces us and pronounces Czech Republic more like Chechnya. And then she says, Jaroslav, Jaromír, 99, which we turn out means don't know what, and Joachim. We play 4 songs. The sound reverberates uncertainly against the walls. We go for a glass of wine instead, and then for another, and then for another. My shoe is kind of pinching me. It's actually true. They were new, and I still have the blister on. Remember that? That was terrible. Anyway, we're staying in Manhattan, really high up, past the 90th Street, on the 22nd floor of the Normandy Court complex. His logo is the figure of a French knight. He's lying in the elevator, broken and sewn into the threadbare carpet. Outside our windows, more skyscrapers are hanging from the sky like elongated puppets without arms. Somewhere far below, little cars are moving about. People are chasing the cold out of their sleeves on the sidewalks and opening the door to the Pakistani restaurant where I bought an overly sweet cup of coffee yesterday. Our building, just like every big residential building, is guarded by a bunch of mostly black doormen in uniforms. They open the doors, wish you good morning, good evening. I wish them the same. Just good morning and good evening. I'm fine, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. And then we both thank each other. In the elevator every morning, I only meet women between 25 and 55. They're elegant with expensive purses and high heels, and they check their cell phone 3 times on the way to the ground floor. I've learned to do the same thing. There's a psychologist that says, he's a friend of mine, that this is the newest big neurosis. A lot of people fall into a panic when no one has called them or written them for a long time, or when they don't have signal, or God forbid, when their battery is dead. The young ladies smile, and I smile too. They look off somewhere behind me, behind themselves, but I just watch them. And in the evening I meet them again. They disappear into their mini apartments, still elegant, still smiling, and checking their cell phones and looking somewhere behind me. And I still look at them. On the roof of the building, there's a big swimming pool and 2 fitness centers with machines and a beefy trainer. Some girls are here torturing themselves in vain until midnight on the treadmills with a little television. Johanka, Jaromir's girlfriend, says that in New York it's incredibly difficult to find a man. For 7 girls who want a relationship, a family, and all the rest, there's just one decent guy that also wants a relationship, a family, and all the rest. Maybe one of them is the sporty trainer in the sweatpants with a cross around his neck. Boats. On the sidewalk, 2 homeless men are passing each other with full shopping carts. For a moment, they're riding next to each other, but one is just a slight bit faster. Then they ride on after one another. They're silent and their faces aren't visible, hunched over and wrapped up in winter coats. They stop at each dumpster. They take turns, and their shopping carts are boats full of treasure. They have an air of Christopher Columbus about them, who officially discovered this continent. They slowly move along. Maybe it's more like standing. They are and they aren't, letting everything whiz by. The managers with their cups of coffee, their assistants in chic coats, the wind and the city. Thanks to them, the world is in balance. I watch them. When they disappear around the corner, I realize that my shoe is still pinching the stupid German shoe. Black hole. Every New York high-rise has its black hole. You can find it in the middle of the hall, most often across from the elevator. You'll know it by the smell. One set of doors open, kind of like a cupboard, and then another one, a set of smaller metal ones that remind me of the doors of my little stove my aunt in the country has, where she bakes meatloaf, and once almost baked a cat, whose scorched fur she then had to cut off and rub him with dog lard. The neighbor's dog lard. Behind those doors there's a deep blackness and stench. Here things change their substance. Everything real disappears. That's how cockroaches usually get in, says Michal, who's lived here a year now with his wife, a Czech diplomat. I throw a Coke can in, we listen, it bounces off the wall and rattles out. For quite a long time, I imagine that working away somewhere deep inside it, it's a local Hantya hero of the New York, too loud of solitude, and pouring down on him far above are not tons of paper and old books that he has to crush, but tons of garbage that he has to sort through. That this New York Hantya isn't educated against his will from books, but from the rotting mess that he can read the city from, and that he knows how everything in New York, us included, will all end, because Prague will also be New York one day. I imagine that all the cats and dogs that whine plaintively from behind the doors while the elegant Mrs. is at work also disappear into the black hole, and that their parrots and guinea pigs also disappear down there, and in the end so do they themselves. I can see how some Puerto Rican in overalls is managing and sorting them down in the underground, and how it doesn't even affect him, because neither he nor New York nor even the heavens above are humane. Dead are here, Coke cans here, milk cartons on the other side, pizza scraps next to them, the newspapers and ads for Utah ski resorts in the corner. And in the end, a big truck comes and takes it all off to the incinerator. The city must have whole another city underneath it, unseen and enormous, just to process what the megapolis on the surface is gorgeous and casts aside. It sorts through it, rinses it off, and returns it to the start once again. Dancing with Linda. Linda from New York. From Brooklyn, Manhattan looks like a bunch of randomly scattered matchboxes. Right under the big bridge, in a former factory, an American, Barton, opened up a shop with Czech furniture and design, from the pre-war years right up to the Brussels style. His gallery is called Prague Collective and is reminiscent of my grandmother's big living room. Apparently it does really well. Tom Cruise even went there once. In the gallery, we open our fake exhibition, Alois Nebel, My Life, and play a small concert. We spew out poisons and antidotes and other songs about love, death, and the Sudetenland. The audience is very obliging and having a pretty good time. After the concert, we're hungry. We have to go for steaks, and there's a restaurant right across the street. They're big, tender, and juicy. Beautiful and happy in an American way. For the obligatory post-meal drink, we end up in a bar across the street again in the first floor of a former factory. We're a little bit drunk, and also a little bit happy, just like the steaks before, and so we're dancing. We have our shiny orange football jackets on. And we look like FC Red Star Kiev. The locals are looking at us strangely, but then all of a sudden it happens. A couple of girls join us, and then some more, and then some more. And all of a sudden the whole bar is dancing. Where'd you get those awful jackets? Asks a girl that introduces herself as Linda. Versace, one of us says. The truth is that they're from H&M on Wenceslas Square. On sale, 150 crowns. So are you all wearing the same jacket? We're a band. Jaromir 99 and the Bombers. What's that? The Bombers. Jaroslav, Jaromir, and Joachim. From New York? From Prague. Where's that? Europe. I see. The girl runs off to relay this to her friends. They giggle and all want to come take their picture with us. They ask us if we're German, that we're always fun, so we say, yeah, we're Germans. And all those girls want to take a picture with us, so we are dancing, and my shoe is pinching, but I don't care. Then the owner of the bar comes over and brings us a beer. He says that if we come here in our jackets to dance every Friday and Saturday, we can drink for free. That he's been looking for someone like us. We drink to it, and I start to understand what the American dream is all about. Truly anyone can be successful here. You just need a good idea. Ours isn't a comic book about Alois Nebel or even our band, no art, just sweat-soaked orange jackets from H&M, from the Wenceslas Square, that make us look like Cuban oranges ad. That's life. Eventually, Linda reveals that she's a tattoo artist. She's latched on to us, well, first to me, and then to Jaromir, and then to Joachim. She wants to hug and kiss, and proposes that we go drink at her place, that she has booze and Coke, and she'll tattoo a piece of New York on our shoulder for free, each piece an original. Luckily, we managed to slip away. Germany. It's a month and a bit until Christmas, but it's as if it were just around the corner. One Christmas carol after another are piling up everywhere like snowballs, like an avalanche obliterating the city. They might be different songs, but all I hear is jingle bells. It's booming in the Chinese grocery store where I buy gum, water, and for whatever reason, also steak sauce. It's even blaring in the underground, cool urban fashion store. I grab a couple of t-shirts for myself, and she asks me where I'm from. Prague. What's that? Czech Republic. What's that? Germany. Ah, okay. And you? Utah. I'm too shy to ask more. The girl is nice and pretty cute. And I keep trying to think what was the capital of Utah. And I'm embarrassed. Near St. Mark's Place, we wander into a diner where they claim to fry the best hamburgers in New York City. Inside, the television is blaring and the air is so saturated with oil that the room feels like a deep fryer or a sauna. It's packed. A lady with a short blondish ponytail and a thick winter coat is taking orders. We order a cheeseburger medium with the works, which includes a mound of French fries, salad, ketchup, and a liter of Coke. And she asks if we want mayonnaise too. How did you know? Joachim smiles. You don't look like you're from around here. And where do you think we're from? And she thinks and says, from over there. Eating lunch around us are only workers and drivers. They have hands like shovels and the hamburgers disappear inside them in 2 bites. Johanka and the waitress are the only 2 women in the place. On the tube is the American version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. The $10,000 question. The capital of France is Paris, Prague, Stockholm, or Rome? The girl doesn't know. Giggles, and she's sort of dumb and sweet, and she calls a friend. And I know, but I'm once again trying to remember what the capital of Utah is. When we pay, I ask the waitress. Salt Lake City, she says. Of course, Mormons. I try a joke. Sex. Mostly it's a good place to ski. Thank you.
Jaromír 99 na kytaru.
Jaromír 99 playing the guitar.
Je to všechno pravda, veď, co jsme tam četli?
No. But it is all true, isn't it, what I've just said? Yes, even worse things happened and all the consequences. I must have been asleep when you walked the Fifth Avenue with the guitar, didn't you? Yeah, you had blisters on your feet. You couldn't go everywhere. Yeah, we had to rest. That was really tragic. Now we should speak about Sudetenland in Czech, right? Alois Nebel takes place in the Jeseníky region about this railway guy who is quite crazy. But we know each other from the Shut Out Eye pub in Prague. Yes, we are still moving along on the map of Central Europe. There was Cuba as well, but that's not Europe. But tell me about all those places, you know, the Sudetenland and the border region. What is it all about for you? That's a place where I was born. So all the fundamental things happened there. The first alcohol, the first loves, the school, etc., etc. So it's still inside me. And also it's the hills, mountains, and you can still be just on your own if you want. Is this a kind of commercial for the Jeseníky mountains? Not really. And you founded your first band called Guys from Work. It was called LL34, kind of. We had this sort of tube in the amplifier, which we couldn't get anywhere. And we had a dream to get this this component for the amplifier. And we had tape recorders. And did you really go to work at that time? Yes, we were kind of working class gang in the 80s. Yes, so we made fun of ourselves, but we were quite sad. What about being in the Jeseník region or communism? We were sad about having to go to work because we wanted to go away to Bulgaria at least, or maybe to East Germany, right? But you had to have a stamp as being employed. So then I made myself unemployed, so I left my job, and then I was supposed to look for another job for 6 weeks. Otherwise, I would be branded as a parasite or so-called parasite. Then I was, dressed in all sorts of way, and I looked like a working class guy. It was a bit ironic. What about the guys from work? They turned into a very famous alternative rock group called Prisnitz, and they've been playing for 20 years. There were so many bands of that type. They had a kind of feeling, making fun of socialism, well, or making believe to be working class. Yes, and there was quite a lot of work. So tell me, in the Prisnitz band, still the Sudetenland is one of the mottos, looking for new land. And there are many German words in your lyrics. Nebel was the second record you made. Nebel meaning fog, really. So can you tell us something about the region, about that place? That feeling began when I came back from the military service. So I thought this region was like a mum, like a mother, and I felt very good about it. I liked being there in that place, but I didn't like the fact that people had been kicked out, expelled, because most of those guys who had to leave, and even those who wanted the war, they were either fighting or they were in prisoners' camp. So maybe it was just old people or children. So even as a young man, I thought it was a bit weird that these people had to be expelled because old people and children were not guilty. And I began to be interested in this topic. So it's founded, and we made a record called Freiwald. But Prisnitz, in fact, was a healer, really, a kind of spa specialist. Yes, but we thought Prisnitz was a beautiful German word. And then we went to Poland, and they translated Prisnitz as the inventor of the shower, because in Polish, shower is Prysznic. When you check a shampoo with Polish inscription, you can read Prysznic. Maybe he was a Pole. I thought he was a German. After 3 generations, he felt German, but he had this Slavonic name. We are now looking at the pictures from your comic strip called Bomber, which is about a soccer player who emigrated in '68. He made a big career in the Bundesliga in Germany, and then he comes back to the Sudetenland, looking for the beginning of his life story. So that's quite tough, isn't it, this comic strip? What about soccer, football? How do you feel about it? Well, I don't really watch it. This is quite a terrible story. Everyone is shocked by it. And I thought of this story. You remember we made a we planned having a comic strip about a house, 3 generations of people in it. So it's a house where he used to go to, where his parents were born. It's a bit similar to the original idea. And then I remember that my grandmother told me a sad story about my grandpa. I got this ball from my grandpa, and my grandpa died. He had a stroke. He died during the night, and my grandpa said it was a beautiful death. So the comic strip is about that. Sometimes comic strips are about the supernatural forces, but this comic strip might even kill because it's so strong. So maybe my last question, a comic strip, what does it mean for you? Why do we make these comic strips, you and me? Well, I don't know. You and me. At the beginning, we thought no one else does comic strips here. Yeah, no one would do what we did, long stories, a lot of action. So all the layers and undercurrents and everything. So I like when you can express things you cannot express by words. And the comic strip makes it possible. I like to experiment. And so the first idea was when we would go to the pub and we thought, let's have this comic strip of our own. That was near the railway tracks, so that's why we had this guy, Alois Nebel. So are we working on a new comic strip? Are we going to tell them? Yes, we have been planning it for years, thinking about it, but when this film is made, then a new comic strip will be started. We have finished the screenplay for the film. It will be made by rotoscopy, which is a special method. It will all be animated cartoon, Czech, German, Slovak co-production. We are very happy about it. And Urimage, they have helped a lot, so we are very happy about it. It's a trilogy. So we'll watch a trailer and play a song. What would you like to say? Well, Bomber, who is the protagonist, he has a band. Well, he listens to a band when driving, listening to their songs. And the songs, in fact, we were sitting by the fire and I wrote the lyrics and the music, and, well, they just happened, the songs and the soundtrack. So we were also speaking about lies, and the 2D band is a sort of non-existent band, and the world is so weird that it works. Right. Yes, it does work. So we'll hear the band, the minimalist comic strip sound. Can we now see the trailer from the Alois Nebel film? Well, it's not a film yet. It's an animation test, and the director, hello to him, had to test the technology for this animated cartoon, and it should be completed in 2 years, I believe. The technology hasn't been tested yet. It's a new technology, so we'll see. And the programs we have not been really tested, so it's a bit of an experiment. I think it will work. So, you will see the trailer. Now it's being cut, and for 18 months, all the drawings for the animation will have to be done. I hope in 2 years it will be completed. Yeah, I do too. And then we could work on something else. Alois Nebel.
Jaroslav Rudiš.
taky.
No, byl to test.
Yes, just a test. And now I'd like to invite Joachim Dvořák, who is our publisher. We'll have a song and then we'll have a very special guest, one interview and 2 more songs. So enjoy it.
Něco říct, tak zná.
So only one of us can really play. It's not me either. Oh, it's not me. No one really. No one. Jaroslav makes his living as a writer. If you could see his keys, well, he doesn't any notes. And he has letters on all the keys, and when he learns a song, so he text messages the music. You will hear the result. And the name of the song, what is the name of the song? Well, you know. Originally it was called Ještěd, which is the name of a hill, mountain. Then we called it Praděd, another hill. So I don't know, Ještěd, or now it's Praděd again. So it's Praděd.
Pokud máte rádi Krkonoše, pro vás.
Or Sněžka, which is another mountain again.
Zugspitze, jestli máte rádi Německo.
Zugspitze, if you like German mountains.
Les je plný hladových zvířat, toulavých psů a divokých koček, já to znám. Stromy se budou kývat, cesta vede bažinami pod černou skálou, co má dlouhý stíny, já to znám. Brzy se bude stmívat na Pradědu, je pořád zima a sníh sleze až na konci dubna, já to znám. Stromy se budou kývat, zablouděný bez stopy. opustili ve chvíli nejhorší. No, náš band má asi 5.
Well, anyway, our band has 5 members. The professionals like the percussion, Zdeněk Jurčík and Ondra Rážek playing the guitar usually save the day. So anyway, thank you for listening.
Díky a díky teda Bombers.